All right. Hey, everyone. Annie Dickerson here together with Julie Lamb. It's Friday afternoon. So what are we doing? Of course, we're folding laundry. And we're talking real estate and life by design, and working through tech issues. I still can't get it to go. The button's not working on the other page. I don't know what to tell you. If anybody's trying to watch this from Instagram, I'm sorry. I don't know what's going on. We're gonna try to figure this out for next time. But anyway, this is our bi-weekly laundry and learn. Of course, we're doing laundry like all the time. I feel like you're not doing laundry. I'm doing laundry all the time, but I only fold it here live with all of you once every couple of weeks. So if you are watching this and either folding your own laundry or you've grabbed a cocktail for early Friday afternoon happy hour, welcome. We're thrilled that you're here. This is our version of a lunch and learn where instead of lunch, we grab laundry and we talk about what's going on in our lives as well as things related to real estate investing, financial freedom, parenting, and everything in between. So, Julie, how's your Friday going?
It's going well. It is going well. Yeah, just popping in and out of meetings and doing our thing here at Good Egg. But yeah, I'm actually getting ready to have a bunch of kids over here because my kids got out of school yesterday, and so I wanted to throw them like a little party to celebrate all the long, hard year of hard work that they did. Especially
what grades did they just graduate from, and what grades will they be in?
Yeah, so oldest is going to 8th grade.
8th grade.
So she's going to be high school next year, and actually she's the one that I'm throwing the party for. Because I'm just so proud of her. Through homeschooling, we skipped a grade. And so she actually entered her school year a grade ahead. So she's a year younger than all of her peers. And I'm just going to plug a proud mama moment. She got straight A's almost. I think one quarter she had a B plus. But she got straight A's and, is just nothing like me at all. But did very well this year. And so I wanted to throw her and her friends a little party. So anyway, I have a bunch of tween girls coming over and we're going to be doing cookies and popcorn and I don't know. What else are we doing, honey? I don't know. Sushi, I guess. I don't know. But yeah, my Friday. And then my other daughter, my middle daughter, who just graduated from elementary school and is going to middle school next year, is also having a friend over too. So it's like a house full of tweens here. That's my life these days.
A house full of tweens. I can't even, I'm getting there. Mine will be graduating in this next week or so from 5th grade and 2nd grade. Yeah. So they'll be going to 6th grade and 3rd grade. So Yep. All right. Okay, look at this. Hold on. Thank you, everybody. We're not perfect over here. I figured out the button on Instagram. So for anybody waiting to watch this on Instagram,
there you go.
It is now officially live on Instagram. We're broadcasting from all the channels, all the ones that we know how to. At least we're still learning, like all of you. But
there you go.
Yes.
Well, I wanted to talk about something kind of continued from last week. I wanted to talk about emotions. We talked a little bit about last week. But over this last week, I had an interesting call with an investor, and it was a woman, and she had expressed her roller coaster ride of emotions that she has gone through in the last 12 months. And we talked about this a little bit last week, right? And I mentioned that some investors are losing money and they're going through a lot of things. But what was interesting was that she first of all, she's a woman. And the things that she brought up to me, and this is what I wanted to talk about with you, was that as a woman, she was feeling, and she didn't necessarily, say it this way, that as a woman, she felt this way. But as a woman, listening to another woman talking, the things that she was saying that she was feeling as a result of having made some, investments that aren't doing well, she was saying things like, the self-blame she was talking about. She was talking about, was I getting too greedy? She was
Yeah.
did I make a mistake? These are
Mhm.
not things typically that men ask themselves when they have an investment that didn't go well, right? They're just like, well, you can't win them all, and yes, it was a maybe a bad decision, but they're much more compassionate, I guess you can say, with themselves, or understanding. Maybe compassion is
Mm.
maybe
Yeah.
understanding what's happening. Um, and so it was just interesting. And so I would love to hear from you, Annie. You've gone through a lot in the last 12 months.
I've never lost any money in my investments. Never. I always make the perfect decisions.
And I'm obviously not immune to this as well. But the reality is that this is something that's happening for a lot of people right now. Um,
Yeah.
how have you, over this last 12 to 18 months, managed the emotional side of of investing? Because this is something I feel like isn't really talked about a lot. And
Yeah.
the interesting thing that she said was that
Hmm.
I have no one to talk about this with. And I immediately resonated with her for that, because I feel much of the same as well, and I have you, so I'm lucky. You and I can sit together and chat about it. But yeah, what, I don't know, what is something that you do on your end, as you're going through a lot of the things that you're going through, to make sure that you stay sane, I guess.
Yeah. Well, first of all, I can totally relate to that investor, and I know there are countless others who are experiencing just a mix of emotions during this time. And I'm right there with all of you, because this cycle of the market has been the first time that I've been really actively involved with my family's investments. Prior to this, it was kind of something we did on the side. My husband managed a lot of it, but this time I really got involved, and I was like, I really believe in crypto. We're going to invest all this in crypto. This is going to be this percentage of our portfolio, and we're going to invest with this fund and this one. And I thought I was doing the due diligence, and I thought I was getting to know the groups and whatnot. And I think I did to a certain point. But the thing is, none of us have control over the entire market and the economy, the state of the world affairs. There's so many factors that go into everything. But I'll just be frank and say I've lost now hundreds of thousands of dollars
Oof.
in various investments that I've made. It's painful. It's so
Ah,
painful, especially when you have kids and family. The whole reason that we got into this was to create wealth for the family, to build a brighter future for our kids. And it's all that much more painful when you learn that those decisions that you made for money that you've worked so many years to build up for your family, now all of a sudden that has gone down the drain, or those dreams have evaporated, and you have to kind of pivot. And I get it. There's a lot of, I mean, I felt this too, especially as an investment professional. Hello, like, I'm in this industry and I've made poor decisions on my own investments. The shame and the guilt that
yeah,
comes with that, I think that's something that we don't talk about enough as a society. Is we sweep it under the rug, and we're like, oh, surely I must be the only one. And there's this
right.
like loneliness to that. And I
Yeah.
think that's the biggest shame, is that when you experience that unbelievably overpowering emotion of guilt and shame and loneliness and anxiety and fear that this is going to happen, then the the worst possible thing that could happen is you close the door on this and you say, well, I guess I made this mistake once. I'm never going to do this again. I'm
Yes.
going to go invest in something else now. And that's the tragedy of it. And that's what I think you and I are so passionate about, creating this conversation in this community so that that doesn't happen, because we see the power and the possibility here. And we don't want one bad apple to spoil the bunch.
Yeah. So how, like, as you're, God, you bring up like so many. I mean, we could spend like a whole day just talking about shame, right? That especially as a woman, that we feel, you know. And when I used to talk with a lot more investors, one of the things that I would hear from women in particular was, well, I'm afraid to make a mistake. I'm afraid to make a mistake, because then they're afraid to feel the shame, and then they're afraid to feel guilt. So what are some, and I have, you know, some things that I could talk about too, but what are some of the ways that you have dealt with that? Because I think that's what the community can really benefit from, is hearing like, what did you do? I know you do a lot of fun stuff too. So, so lean into it and share. Don't
you know, it reminds me of this one of the I've become a real retreat junkie. I love going to these retreats and just working on myself, because so much of success in investing and in finances is about getting in the, like, it's the mind game, and getting over those fears and those anxieties. And so I've done a lot of work on myself. In fact, one retreat I went to, it was a group of, I think, 16 women. The very first day, we sat in a big circle, and the very first topic was guilt and shame, right? About the things that you feel guilty about, the things that you're ashamed about. And this was an amazing thing, because I had never been in a setting where I could witness and be witnessed. And that's something that we lack as a society, because, you know, even if I were to get together with my friends and tell them, oh, I lost this money with this investment, they would most likely jump immediately to, it's going to be okay. You're going to be fine here. You know, I made this investment. What, you know, like, that's the tendency. But with this experience, what stood out to me was the power of being witnessed, where I could just go in the middle of the circle, and I could yell and I could scream and I could express everything that I had been bottling up. And the rule was, nobody was to touch me. Nobody was to comfort me. And people were just there to witness me in this experience. And it was so powerful to not only be in the middle of the circle, but to have other people to share their experiences and to just be there with them, you know. And I think that's so much of what we need is, and what we're trying to do here is just, you know, open up, that let people know that they're not alone, and that we're here experiencing this with you. But that's been such a powerful thing. Is, you know, I used to think I didn't have emotions. I was like, I'm just focused on achievement. I don't have emotions. You guys get angry. I don't. You guys get sad. I don't cry.
He's telling the truth, you guys. I used to think the same thing. I was like, how do you do this? Because I'm such an emotional person. And when we do business together, I'm like, how do you like do this? I want to learn to be like you.
Well, the thing is, so what's great about our partnership is we've taught each other, we've kind of come from these different angles. But what I've learned is my emotions, I can't believe I'm saying this, my emotions are my superpower. And I cannot believe that all these years I've been bottling them up and pretending that they don't exist, trying to brush them under the rug. And, you know, when that is like the power, that's the juiciest stuff, that's the human experience. And dissociation, yes, whoever commented, Price and Pride, thank you. It's dissociation, and that's what society tells us to do, right? You're, especially as women, you're too much. That's too much. As a little girl, you know, don't make all that noise. Don't make all that commotion. Keep it inside. And that's what we've been taught. But through this experience, I've been really giving myself more space to feel those emotions and let myself know it's okay that I feel really disappointed, or I feel really guilty, and I feel really lonely in this moment. And just, you know, to process it and to let it out. And I think related to the physical money part, you know, one thing that I just keep running back in my mind is life is all about learning, and one way or the other, you're going to pay the tuition.
Yep.
And the way that I paid the tuition in this case was I lost the money through the investments.
Yeah.
Otherwise, I could have sat in a class. I could have paid tuition for a class for somebody to teach me all the things to vet crypto or real estate or whatever these investments are, and to do it the proper way. But I decided to go a different way. I learned through the School of Hard Knocks, and I learned it through doing.
Yeah.
And those are lessons I'm going to take with me that might set me up to have even greater returns in the future. So that's kind of how I've positioned it. But I know I've been hogging the limelight. I've been dying to hear your experience. Tell me your experience too.
I love it, you guys, because Annie has always paved the way for me, even from the moment I met her. I still remember at the conference, and I was like, wow, she just quit her job, and like she has 2 young kids just like me, and it was just she's always inspired me. So I love that you guys get to hear. And on top of that, Annie, I do really boring stuff, like just read books, read myself to sleep in my bed. But no, like, I think one of the things I take away from your story that really resonated with me too is this ability to be vulnerable, and I have not finished yet, but did read Brene Brown's book on vulnerability.
Oh, yeah.
So like what happens is when you aren't vulnerable, you essentially put a wall around you and you stay safe, and you don't feel all the bad stuff. But what I realized was I was also keeping all the happy stuff out, all the joy, all the hope, all the laughter, all the other things that were the positive emotions, because essentially you just have this wall up, so not only you keep the bad, but you keep the good out as well. And so in the last year, I have been really working on trying to find vulnerability and the place of safety within vulnerability, because talking about being vulnerable is like jumping into this big, ocean of like vulnerability. And it's super scary. It's like thinking about jumping out of a plane into the middle of the Pacific Ocean. And I'm like, oh,
with no parachute.
Yeah, no parachute. And you're like, it is too much. So I have had to learn to take a boat out to the middle of the Pacific Ocean and like jump in the water and then come back on my boat and jump in the water and come back on my boat, but vulnerability has been such a great, tool for me to learn to experience the full range of emotions, not just the negatives. But one of the things that I would say, for me, and I've shared this with you too, Annie, is that, as a woman, that I feel like I really struggled with has been this idea of self-compassion. And I didn't even know, I didn't even know, if you asked me like a year ago, what does self-compassion mean? I couldn't even tell you, because I didn't know how to live it. I didn't know how to practice it. I didn't know what it meant. So I couldn't define it. I might have been able to define it in words, but I certainly couldn't have defined it in what it is and how I live it and what it means. Ever since I read, there's actually a book by a woman her name is Kristin Neff, and she literally wrote the book it's called Self-Compassion. And so she literally wrote the book on that. And that book and that book alone is something that helped me so much in terms of learning to take the emotions in, learning to accept myself, learning to understand that everything is not perfect. I'm not perfect. Understanding that even though you may feel alone, that there are people, that there is a community, that there are people who are experiencing the same thing as you. And that was something that helped me get rid of the feeling of loneliness that often we can feel when we're going through something that's really difficult or challenging. So just learning to be more self-compassionate with myself has been something that has allowed me to navigate, those feelings of shame and guilt. Did I make the wrong decision? Am I going to give up on this? No, I'm not, but like, how do I navigate these waters? And self-compassion has been such a great channel for me to manage all of those emotions. And also just letting, like you said, I don't have these emotions. I did that a lot too, where I'm like, oh, there's fear. Nope, don't see it, can't feel it, don't know what it is. And I don't know if anyone who's listening has seen, which I'm so excited about, but they're coming out with an Inside Out 2.
Yes, I'm excited too.
So what I do in my meditation, when I meditate, is I'm like, okay, fear, come on in, come have a seat, come sit right next to me. But to the other side of me, I'm gonna have joy, and you guys are gonna coexist in the room together. And that has been a game changer too, because now I'm not like, get out of here, fear. Like, I don't want you in this room with me. You annoy me. Like, get out of here. You don't exist. But letting these emotions coexist together has been such a game changer for me, and sitting with the feeling has allowed me to accept the feeling more wholly. So that's been another way for me. But
Yeah, and when you first shared that with me, the whole like bringing fear in and letting fear sit down and joy sit down over here. I was like, what a great way to, because in our heads, when you don't acknowledge the emotions, they become like this big. They seem like you can't do anything with them. You're so overwhelmed. But when you embody them and you bring them in and you start to have a relationship and a conversation with those emotions, that's when you can really like make progress and process those emotions and get to a point where you have a healthy relationship with those emotions. This is something I'm definitely working on as well.
Yeah,
for sure.
What you resist will persist. That's the word.
Nice. What you resist will persist.
And I was like, oh my God, that's it. What you resist will persist for sure. So yeah.
Well, to anyone who's watching and listening, we know it's a tough time out there. It's a tough world out there, whether you're investing or not. There's difficult times, there's challenges in all of our lives. And we hope you know that we're here with you. But more than that, we're fellow humans too. And this is just about real estate aside, money aside. This is about a human to human connection. And we just want you to know that we're here for you. We know that you're probably experiencing a whole host of challenges, as are we. So we and our team, we're here for you. We're going to be folding laundry. Actually, I'm done with my laundry. I've got 4 mismatched socks. I mean, is that not like the telltale? Like every time I'm done, I'm like, how do I have all of these mismatched socks? Like, I don't even know where they go. But know that we're here for you and with you. If there's anything that we can do, reach out to our team anytime. Julie's answering the calls, so she'll be right there on the other end. She'll be like, hey, so seriously, reach out though. We're never too busy to take your calls or your emails or your questions. And we'll be back in 2 weeks folding laundry again. So 2 Fridays from now, we'll be back, same time, same place, and we hope to see you then.
See you later.
Bye, everyone.